I had a discussion the other day in a Facebook group about faith and what it actually means. It's interesting that all these people who call themselves understanding are not. It takes more than to be tolerant of a race to be tolerant of people, tolerant of other religions as well. The Christians alive today are not the Christians that slaughtered the pagans of old. The pagans that are alive today are not the pagans of old. There's a clear difference. We are looking at this the wrong way, with just hate in our hearts. Hate only leads one way, and that is one person's own destruction, not to the betterment or enlightenment of those people. This is my personal take on this. Many people will disagree, and you have every right to, because that's your choice. I do not badmouth the other religions for a simple fact. I don't know if they're my own. Now, that's not meaning I'm not Norse pagan. I believe in the old gods. I believe in Tyr and Odin and Thor, Frigg and Freya. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stain my honor by bad-mouthing the Christian God or the Abrahamic religions. How are you to tell me that that's not Thor in another name? We know Thor had many names. Allfather, Odin, Godon, and so many more. Wotan. Even the other gods had multiple names. So who's to say that the Abrahamic God is not Odin in another form? Now, I don't want to die someday and go before Odin or go before any of the gods, even Tyr, and say, well, I didn't know you guys were all the same religion, and have to explain myself. What honor does it bring me to badmouth someone who has done nothing to me personally? I get it. Many pagans come from families that were once Christian. Many pagans have a view on Christianity because they were forced to believe in this or had it shoved down their throats. Okay? Well, that's your personal story. That doesn't speak for everyone. I grew up in a very loving Catholic family. Even today, my Catholic family understands my choice, may not agree with it, but they understand it was my choice to go a different way, to decide I was pagan, that I worshiped my gods of my ancestors. I was called to it by Tyr. I was reading an article on him somebody shared, and it was talking about the rune Tuaz. That's interesting, Tuaz. My last name's Tuas. That's really, really close. Started looking. The further back you get with my last name, the more it changes into Tweez or Tooz, which is not that far from different names of Tyr. Now, I have some theories on that. I really do. And some should probably make me hate the Christians, probably more than anyone else. It is very possible when Charlemagne was forcing conversions by the sword that my ancestors were forced to convert. Actually, it's most likely. Many of them had to be choosing last names because in that era they did not have last names for the most part. My last name, according to things I have looked up, means son of Matthews, as in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Matthews out of the Bible. How does that make sense for a Saxon in Germany or Saxland to be connected to that? Well, how would Matthew, or a descendant of Matthews, be up there? Well, there's only two possibilities with that. One, it was never that. and somebody changed the letters to mean something else because they did not like what that family originally chose, which was probably closer to Tuas or Tweez, and changed it to have a Christian meaning. Or they were given a Christian name at baptism, because the Tuas name is very prevalent in England, and not so much in Germany up to a certain point, which would also suggest that it was a forced name given to people, similar to the word Smith given at Ellis Island when immigrants came over and people couldn't pronounce their name. My name in German is pronounced Tavis. Now you're saying that's a large gap there to get to Tuas. Not really if you go back to Old Germanic. Like I said, the further back you get, the closer to the pronunciation you get, which is where my theory comes from. And it's just a theory. I can't prove it. It's a personal feeling I have that one of my ancestors was fairly smart-mouthed and decided, hey, yeah, you're going to force this on me, well, I'm going to get one over on you too in the end. Personal belief. Does that mean I hate the Christian God? No. 2 of my daughters are Christian. I don't badmouth their faith. Actually, there's a rule in my house that we have to be tolerant of each other. My household includes Norse pagan. It included Celtic at one time. It includes agnostic, Christian, undecided. I mean, people can live in harmony if they choose to. They can choose to respect each other's faith. Doesn't mean they have to believe it. Just respect it. Hey, that's what you believe. That's cool. I'm glad you believe that. That's not my belief, but hey, that's cool. And for the other person's part, they have to not force their beliefs on another human being, because that in itself is wrong in another law. I mean, my entire family is tickled pink, that I got a sword. They even asked me why I put tear on it. Well, because the place wouldn't let me engrave a rune. I wanted to engrave the rune Tuas on it. They wouldn't let me. So tear was the next best thing. Took years to be able to afford it, but now I have one. What do I use it for? Videos. I'm sure if someone broke into my house, I would have fun hitting them with it. But, that's neither there nor there. But the thing is, you got to ask yourself this. Why hate on another religion because somebody told you to? It is no different than racism. And in itself, it's a form of racism. It's a form of hatred. You're hating someone for being themselves. You're hating someone for something they believe in. Every pagan out there has been the object of ridicule. Some of them have been the object of degradation. Some of them have even been discriminated against based upon their faith. So I think you all should understand that why are you doing the same back? Now, I'm not wanting to take the Gandhi approach that, you shouldn't do nothing. Why are you giving them a reason to hate? Recently I learned some things about how to stop an argument from someone. Say they're calling you stuff, and you say, yeah, sure, yeah, you're exactly right. There is no reason to argue with these people. They believe one thing about you. Nothing you say will change that. No amount of education to a person who already believes that you worship Satan will change that. There are many people out there that believe pagans are horrible human beings. There are many out there that believe they sacrifice goats, eat children. I've seen pamphlets from the church without comments about it, even today. But that's their belief system. They have a certain set of doctrines and rules for them to follow. And one of them is recruiting other members. It's like being vampires here. You got to recruit more, right? Pagans are not like that. We are after questions to be answered. We are out to feel like we belong, or that someone understands us. That is what we are out for. What do? We worship nature for the most part. Some powerful deities. How do we worship them? We give thanks to them. We give them offerings of wine, meat. We sacrifice items to them, whether it's a drawing, a picture, we write them a poem, give them a prayer. Those are the sacrifices we do. Very few people today offer blood sacrifices to the gods. You watch the show Vikings, good example. You see them sacrificing humans and goats. I'm sure that happened at one point. I don't know how accurate that show is on that, but I am sure at one point there were animal sacrifices to Odin and the other gods. But this is 1,000 years later. Those pagans are not the pagans of today. Those pagans have been dead for 1,000 years. Christianity stamped them out. Well, it was not about a religion. It was about conquering. It was about control. And that was all it was about. It's not about saving someone. It's not about peace. Because if you look at the Christians and who was using Christianity, not all the people who fought under the banner of a Christian was an actual Christian. They used the faith for their own means. Many pagans today do the same thing. White burst, or whatever these people want to talk about. They use paganism as an excuse to hate or to put their foot in another's face. Any individual, no matter the reason, putting your foot in another's face, forcing them down to bring you up, is wrong. It's that simple. To be pagan does not mean that you have to hate Christians. To be pagan means you're pagan. We took a name that the Christians used to call us and we put pride into it. Oh, we're heathens. Great, we're heathens. Everyone has seen the meme float around that goes on, you're a godless heathen. No, I'm not. I have many gods. I don't even have enough fingers to count them on. You've all seen that. It's a joke. It's interesting. It's funny. We took derogatory names that they used to call us and we turned them into something we could be proud of. It's about honor. That's what it boils down to. How much honor does each individual have? How many of you understand honor? Maybe I'll do a segment on that another time about honor itself. But it comes down to honor. How do you honor yourself and honor your gods and honor your ancestors? By bad-mouthing the Christians of today. Sure, I am one of the pagans that look back at the history and what the Christians did, especially Charlemagne, and am appalled. I am sickened. But that was war. That was survival of one culture or the other. There was only one going to walk away from it, and the Christians happened to win. I look at it as the sad loss of knowledge. We don't have all the tales anymore. I look at it as ignorance of another culture to what our culture was. But I don't look at it in hate, because they personally did nothing to me. So why should I hate them?